Hello and welcome to part 8 of my video series, Meet the Horses. But in today's video, I actually only have half a horse for you. So let's check it out. I know so many people are going to be so excited about this video because today we have, look at those ears. Look at those beautiful ears. We have Sally. Oh my gosh, is she dirty? So she's half horse, half ass, meaning half donkey. And my ass is dirty. Holy smokes, is she dirty. She is a mess. Sally, what have you been doing? You're so dirty. Were you laying directly in the mud? Now, it is March 15th in Michigan, and usually March 15th, we've got a bunch of snow. We're not dealing with springtime, and it's been springtime since fall. So confusing. Okay, she is going to go roll immediately, guaranteed. Oh, look at that. Called it. Sally's very favorite thing to do ever is to roll in the sand. The cat distracted her. Jackson, you distracted her. But that's mule for you. They're very in tune to things. She's like the cat. Both cats distracted me. You were gonna roll, I saw it. Look at those pretty eyes. Doesn't she have the best eyes? Oh my gosh, I just love her. So if you're new here, you haven't seen Sally before, and oh my gosh, have I got history with this mule. And if you're not a mule lover here, I hope Sally can teach you to be a mule lover, and just my channel in general, because I love mules. And Sally is my first mule, and she is just wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. This animal has more personality than many people that I've met. She doesn't look impressed at all, but it is like 11 o'clock at night, and she's like, I was kind of like done for the night. Sally is, besides Manzer, probably the next requested animal on my channel to be seen. So a lot of people are always asking me about her just because she's just a really cool critter. Okay, so Sally and I go back to 2018. A client of mine contacted me and said, hey, Brandi, I have this mule that I bought, and I think I'd like to sell her. So she said, I'm going to try to sell her on my own first, but if I'm not able to sell her, will you take her and put some training on her and sell her? And I said, well, heck yeah, I will. So for me, I was like, I get to work with a mule. I am so excited because I have had a pretty extreme obsession with mules most of my life. I don't know exactly when it started, but I'll tell you a little bit about that. Major obsession with mules. In, I want to say 2006, I went to Wyoming, and I got to stay at a ranch with a friend. A friend of mine's parents lived there, dad and stepmom. And the dad had mules, and he had ranch roping mules. Super cool. And so I got to take a lesson on one of his mules and just kind of hang out with the mules for a few days, and I thought they were amazing. Just loved their personalities and their temperament and everything that went along with it. So in my opinion, mules are horses, but they have four-wheel drive and a lot more personality and character. And they're smarter. So that's my opinion about mules. So I was absolutely hooked after riding that first mule. And let's see, moving forward then, I met somebody locally here who had mules and did mostly driving, but also had a jack that he had for stud. And I had a horse named Rain, who's actually still at my farm, but I don't own her anymore. And I wanted to breed Rain to this jack so I could start raising mules. That was a thing for me. And this was back in 2008, I want to say, 2009. But then we ended up buying a farm in 2010. And so I put that plan on hold, because when you buy a farm, all your other plans go on hold. So fast forward then, I went to Texas for Legacy of Legends in 2017. And there were mules down there that I kind of hung around a little bit and thought that they were awesome. And I went back again the following year and same thing. So I've had this obsession with mules for a long time. 2018 is when Sally came around. So this client of mine, friend of mine that had her, had bought her and then ended up, I think, having her knee replaced. The client did. And then once that healed, had the other knee replaced. So Sally was really wasn't messed with at all. And she had a little friend that was a miniature donkey named Tam, I believe. And so Sally was very attached to Tam. And so they had a hard time catching her. They had a hard time getting her in the trailer, basically everything. So Sally and her little friend Tam eventually made it here. And the trailer experience was not good for her. She had bad experiences with vets as well. So she came here. I said, just bring her. I'll get her vaccines and Coggins and all that kind of stuff once she's here. So now Sally wasn't okay with being caught. She didn't really want anything to do with people. And she had just kind of sat it had been a while, I think a couple of years that she had sat and done nothing. And mules kind of go backwards very quickly. So in my experience anyway, is, a lot of horses, you can go out and, ride them one day, let them sit for a while and they'll be fine. Some horses you can't. And mules are probably the same, but this particular mule went backwards really, 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 really far. Like untouchable. So I started working with this mule and I had her in a stall. And first thing was, okay, I need to get her away from her little friend, because her and this little donkey friend were obsessed with each other. Well, the donkey didn't care. Sally relied on this little donkey for her life. And so it was very hard to do anything with Sally because she was just obsessing over this donkey. So when she first got here, I had Lee Smith here to do a clinic. And so Sally stayed in a stall for a few days. Say that 5 times fast. Sally stayed in a stall for a few days just to make sure that I could catch her. And then I had Lee Smith kind of help me out with some things with her. I just did groundwork and such. So that was the first weekend that she arrived, that we had Lee here. And then after that, I'm like, well, she's got to go outside. She can't live in a stall forever. And I put her in a small paddock, her and her donkey friend. And I'm like, well, they can just sit and get adjusted and whatever else. And in the meantime, I was like, I need to be able to catch this critter. And she had a halter that was left on her with a short rope so they could actually catch her. Because when I say hard to catch, I mean you're not going to catch her. Doesn't matter what the deal is, you are not going to catch her. I have never experienced that in my life. To date, Sally has taught me more than any other animal I have ever experienced in my life. She is one of the best teachers I have ever had. And I owe a ton to her because she taught me patience that I didn't know existed. Okay. Sally taught me kindness that I didn't know existed. And she had so many things to work through. It took me about 4 months just to really touch her. So the whole deal with me taking her for training for my friend. And this is where I'm a terrible business person, okay? I'm really not. Let's go move around, Sal. Go somewhere, do something so people can see you. I am a terrible business person in the sense that I was like, sure, I'd love to take your mule. But for me, I was thinking, I'm like, this is a great opportunity for me to get to know a mule and to learn from a mule. So I said, the only way I'll do it is if I can take as long as I need. And she said, sure, deal. So basically, I just took Sally and she became, part of the farm. And I worked with her. Well, I couldn't catch her. It took me, like I said, 4 months just to catch her. So I really didn't do a whole heck of a lot with her for the first long time that she was here. And I want to say after she was here for maybe a few weeks, maybe a couple weeks, we did sell the donkey. So the donkey went to a new home, a client and friend of mine. So the donkey's still doing well to this day. And that was a very important step, though, because Sally needed to be separated from this donkey because she was so fixated on it. I couldn't do anything with her. And I do have video footage that I took. That's a different day, different video that I took of her when we took the donkey into the arena and Sally was still in the paddock. Just the sheer panic and stress that Sally went through just being separated from this donkey for such a short period of time. No living creature should ever have to go through that kind of stress. And when I say they shouldn't have to go through that kind of stress, let's teach them that they don't have to be that stressed. So I'm not saying, don't ever separate them. I'm saying let's teach them to not be stressed in that situation. But as far as Sally was concerned, she thought that she was just going to die without that donkey. So the donkey went away, and Beck, my assistant, she spent a lot of time helping with Sally, trying to get her, just so she could go out and touch her. And same thing here. I mean, I would go out and be like, okay, I've got 45 minutes. All I want to do is pet her. 45 minutes comes and I hadn't even gotten within 6 feet of her. So that's the kind of stuff that it's like, you have to really think about. Let's move, Sal. Go somewhere. Go in. She's like, no, I'm not going. Just go do something. So I had to really lower my expectations. That is something Sally taught me how to lower my expectations because I set the bar too high all the time. And so Sally was like, oh, you have 45 minutes? That's funny. Yeah, you're not going to touch me. And so it started being like, okay, I have 2 hours today. Maybe I can give her a treat. You know what I mean? And I am so not a person that gives treats or any kind of bribery whatsoever. But with Sally, I was willing to do anything that it took to become her friend. And sometimes food is the only option, in my opinion. So I got Sally to the point where she would come up and eat a little bit of grain out of a pan near me. She'd come up, maybe take a treat off of there's this wood box that we used for hay out in her paddock. She would come and take a treat off the side of the wood box, that kind of stuff. So slowly worked my way up to being able to touch her. And Beck did the same thing. So Sally's tail hadn't been brushed in a while, and it was a big matted ball. So she needed some grooming. And it had just turned that way just from swishing at flies and stuff and just not being brushed. And then the oils and dirt and everything, of course, that gets into their hair and such. But so she desperately needed to be brought in and groomed and all that. But that was not, we couldn't do it. We had to be able to just catch her. So it finally came time, though, where she let me catch her. And it was so hard when I took the halter back off. It was so hard to be like, okay, I'm going to let her go and have to go through all of that again tomorrow. And that really sucks, but I'm telling you, it gets better. It gets better. There's been days where we've spent 4 hours just trying to make some headway with this critter. And it gets, like I said, it gets better. And I can tell you that now you go out into the pasture, if you're one of her people, because she has people, if you're not her people, you don't count. You mean nothing to her unless you're her people. She has to trust you. She judges you. She analyzes everything about you. And you have to earn that with her. She's not just going to give that to you, period. So what Sally will do now is when I go out to catch somebody else, she'll just follow me around. And she does it to a couple of the others as well. There's a couple of the girls that are like early teens, you know, they go out there and they feel guilty because Sally guilted them all the way to the fence or all the way to the gate. And she's like, take me, please take me. And then she'll stand at the gate and she will hee-haw. She'll do her cute little bray and she'll be all kind of crabby. Like she'll go back and forth with her ears pinned back. Like she'll back up, she'll walk forward. She'll back up, she'll walk forward. And she's like, take me. And she'll be making a big old fuss and everything in the whole process. So that's her way of being like, I want to be with you. And it's just so different from a horse. She's so different. She'll see me walk out my door and she will be talking to me right away. And she's just so personable, very loyal. She kind of reminds me of like, I have a German Shepherd and she kind of reminds me of that, where she's just like very aware of where you are at all times and very aware of what's going on. And she's like the protector. That's Sally. So I'll back up a little bit now. So Sally got here in July of 2018. And I did not trust putting her with the herd until March of 2019. March 2019, I was confident, okay, I can catch her every single time I go out to catch her when she's alone. And I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to catch her when she's with a herd. And I've been able to catch her every single time. Now, other people have struggled to catch her, but it just keeps getting better and better for everyone. Like I said, if she knows you and she trusts you, then you're pretty lucky. Sally loves to roll so much. And I love when she gets up and she shakes and her ears flap together. So I think she is, I don't even know how old she is. I think she was born, I think she's like the same age as Nakona. So she's like 2007 or 2008. I think she's 2008. So however old that makes her now. It's 11 at night. Don't make me do math. She's what, 16? Oh, Sally. Are you 16? Are you sweet 16 this year? But we don't really know. I don't really have any background on her. I was told that she does ride and drive, but I can tell you there was no way that I was getting on this mule for a very, very long time. She has some pretty serious trust issues, and she has a lot of fear. And I am not getting on something that's going to not trust me and be afraid of me, period. So it took me a long time. We do ground driver, but I haven't actually, besides pulling like a tire and stuff, I haven't actually hitched her to anything. Lack of time. It's not been a priority to do that. Someday. But riding wise, here's another issue. So Sally, it took... 2022, I finally found a saddle that worked on her. I came across one that was like okay-ish. Her back is totally different from a horseback. And we've got a lot of saddles in my barn and a lot of different things we tried. I did not try an actual mule saddle because I didn't have access to one. So what I did is I met a gal named Tiffany, and she's got a page on Facebook. Hi, Sal. Called Hug Your Horses, and she's a Hidalgo saddle dealer. And so I started talking with her. And so before I went and tried the mule saddle route, because Sally's a very small mule too. She's got a very She's very small in stature, and I don't know what she's crossed with. So like, I don't know if she is, I feel like she might be Pasofino, because she does seem like she's gaited. She's very smooth moving, and she's very small. I've ridden Pasofinos before. She just reminds me of that. So, but I don't know. I would love to know what the Jack, her sire looked like and all that stuff too. But anyway, so going back to the saddle fit. Saddle fit was an issue, and I tried a crooper, a breeching. Basically what would happen is Sally would start bucking, and the saddle would just like basically come off of her head. It would flip right over her neck and be on the ground in front of her. And so there's that. And then the whole like bucking thing. It's like, I've got to make sure that the saddle is going to stay in place, because if my tack is going to come off, if she starts hopping around or doing anything, I'm not going to be able to stay on. I'm not going to be useful at all. So finding something that would just stay put on her was a big concern of mine. It was necessary. And I wanted her to be comfortable as well. Let's go the other way now, honey. Let's go. Come on. You guys can watch her move and see what you think about what she might be. Yeah, go somewhere. But, I mean, her back just doesn't even move. She moves like glass. So, I get this saddle, and right around the time that I got the saddle to try on her, which actually fit her fabulous. Stayed put really nice, super good solution, and I'll post videos about those saddles because I think that they're a great solution for a lot of people that have issues with saddle fit with their horses, mules, equines of whatever sort. But I went to Texas in April of 2022, and I rode some different mules. I got to check out a lot of different tack, learned a ton. Video from me going to mule school will be coming soon because, oh my gosh, it was just the most amazing trip, and I have so much to share with all of you mule lovers out there. So after being in Texas and learning a bunch about mule tack and mules in general and all that, I came home and started using the saddle that I had for Sally and got some serious miles on her, and she really loves trail riding. She doesn't love the arena so much. Like you see right there, I ask her to go and she kind of puts her ears back. She's like, oh, fine, if I have to. Like she doesn't like arena work so much because I think she's like, what is the point of this? Let's get outside and go do something cool. But Sally is, notice she likes to stop right there. When I felt like Sally was safe to pass along to a student to start working with, come on, sweetheart, then I did. And so passed her off to a student to work with a little bit, and then eventually got her to the point where another student of mine started leasing her. So Sally does have her own person, and it's pretty awesome. They do great together. Hoping to see Sally out on the trails a ton this summer and just doing different things. But this mule, oh my gosh, once she finally trusted us, things just changed so much. And again, it boils down to like, I know the people that I got her from, they didn't really do much with her, and they're really good to their animals and everything. And I don't know what her past is like, but there's definitely some holes, major holes in her training. I know that they said that she rode and drove, but I don't believe anything that anybody tells me. I let the animal tell me what they actually know. And if I have a bad feeling about something, or if I feel like there is, fear or lacking trust or anything like that, I'm not gonna push it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fix the problem, okay, before I move on. So even though she had been ridden and driven, I'm not going to take a chance and hitch her to a cart and then have a massive wreck because she's uncomfortable with the sound of the wheels or whatever it is. I'm going to fix the problems. So Sally's been a great teacher that way. She's quite wonderful. And she's got so far to go. So I would consider her still green. Like, she loves to get out and go trail riding, but she still is green. So if there's a situation where she's unsure of something, I want to make sure that she's confident through it. So she's very sure-footed and confident in herself and what she's able to do. She just gets unsure with other horses leaving. So like if we have a big crowd of horses and they all kind of start to leave, she'll get worried. She gets worried over, not trusting people. She'll be a little concerned. Like if somebody walks up to her real fast, she'll be concerned about that. So she has her quirks still, and it's going to take a very long time for that kind of stuff to go away. But that's okay. It's okay. So I'm hoping that Sally is first of many mules that come into my life. And she has taught me so much. I am so forever grateful for her. And I do have to tell you too, okay, so the whole training thing. So I think she was here for at least a year, maybe longer. And the gal, it might have been 2 years. And the gal that actually owned her, came out and we were visiting and stuff. And I said, okay. I said, well, tell me how much you want for that mule, because she's not leaving. She's a permanent fixture here now. I can't let her go. So I wrote a check for this mule. I think I paid $1,500 for her, but I just couldn't not. I couldn't let her go after all that. I had to see what she could become. So Sally earned her keep for sure. Let's go move around some more. There's a saying that I heard from one of my trainers. He says he's really big into a lot of work with driving, has worked with a lot of mules. And he says, the things you should have done with a horse, you have to do with a mule. And I thought that was a pretty neat way of putting it, because mules are so incredibly smart. And if you skip steps, they will know it. And you're going to end up with issues because of it. So I think Sally's a great example of that. I think she had a lot of holes in her training. And we're going to go the other way, sweetheart. My goal is to be able to start a mule from scratch. So day one, mule full, be able to do all the training myself and to see what I can accomplish. Because the things about Sally that I love, oh gosh, I really love, the things that were difficult with Sally were things that were man-made things. So not anything that was her fault whatsoever. And see, I stop and she stops. She's like, we done now? Cool. She's like, because this like going around in circles thing is silly. So much personality. So much personality. So those of you who have been watching my channel for years have watched Sally change. You've seen what she was like before. And of course, there's so many videos that I wasn't able to show you because who has that much time? But just the changes that she has made in the time that I've owned her, and the little time that I've actually spent with her, is very rewarding and makes me feel good. And I hope that she only continues. So I remember one of the things that I told Sally was one of my goals is this. I told her, I will eventually kiss your muzzle and you'll tolerate it. She doesn't like it, but she tolerates it. Where what she used to do before, she would flare her nostrils and snort and run. So just everything that we can do with this mule now, oh my gosh, it's just such huge changes from where she was. And like here, she's like, I'm just going to keep backing up so you leave me alone. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to. So you're going to have to just tolerate me. Mwah. She's like, wait, no, I actually wanted your love. Not really. Oh my gosh, was she complicated for vet care? And it was fun because each time the vet came to do something, just regular vaccines and stuff, Sally made huge improvements each time. But I mean, at first it was like, she was just so scared. And I have such a great team of, my farriers, my vets, everybody that comes here to work on our horses, body work. Oh my gosh, this is great. So Sally had some body work done one time, and I wish I had this on video because it was just great. But she was very nervous of the gal for a little while, okay? And then finally she kind of like got used to it. She's like, okay. And when the gal stepped away and she's like, okay, I'm all done now, Sally like looked at her and sidestepped to her, and she's like, almost like she's like, no, you're not done yet. Like, I need you to get a little bit more over here. And it was just so awesome because Sally was like, hey, I really like that. This gal's cool, and she's making me feel better. So I just love that personality. It's pretty neat. But it's fun to watch, like I said, the entire team, everybody that's involved with the barn, all of the professionals that come in. It's fun to watch everybody pitch in and try to help this animal just live a more comfortable life. I just love it. So it's been really a fun experience. So for those who don't know the difference or what a mule actually is, a mule is a horse mother with a donkey father, okay? And there's different sizes of donkeys. So you have your minis, your standard, your mammoth sizes. Typically the mammoth sizes are what make the full-size riding mules. And they can be crossed with anything you can have mini mules all the way up to draft mules. It all depends. If you have a donkey mother and horse father, that is called a hinny. And a hinny, you still get basically the same, it looks very similar. Like, I don't think that I would be able to tell if you showed me pictures of hinnies versus mules in most cases. But there are differences, particularly because the donkey is the one that raises them. So they're going to have a lot more of the donkey personality traits than they would if they're raised by a horse. So that's that. So, and instead of a mare, they're called Molly. So Sally is a Molly mule, and a gelded mule is called a John mule. And mules are sterile, so they cannot reproduce. So Sally cannot have foals. She does still have a heat cycle, but she cannot have babies. Apparently it has happened, just like a freak instance that happened. But yes, they are sterile. So if you have a foal that is a boy, it may not be able to reproduce, but it still needs to be gelded because otherwise it will still have the testosterone of a stallion, and you don't want that. There's a reason that they use mules for areas like the Grand Canyon and such. They are just so sure-footed and genuinely have very good feet. So another fact about mules is they can live off a lot less than horses, and they also live a lot longer than horses. So, and they are stronger than horses pound for pound. There's a lot of really interesting things about mules. If you really want to know more about them, I encourage you to check out the differences between, because they're so neat. Sally, don't take the glove. I was just trying to get you to put your ears up. Don't eat my glove. Can I have that, please? There's the nose flare. There's the nose flare. All right, that's all I have to say about Sally. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and be sure to check out her playlist. You can go back and see all of the older videos that I have of her, and stay tuned for more to come. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Kitties. Kitties. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Hello. Hello. Goodness, that was a little aggressive. Ouch. Ouch, claws. Ouch, ouch, ouch.